Prices are skyrocketing everywhere, from eggs to SUVs. We are seeing price increases up to 400%. So let's dig into this and see exactly how we got here and what can be done about it. Hello everyone, Nolan West here. Inflation is a tricky thing. We have a very good understanding of how it runs out of control, but getting it back under control without significant economic consequences is an impossible task. Once the genie is out of the bottle, you can't put him back in. And to put it as simply as possible, inflation occurs when more money chases less goods and services, which primarily happens in two ways. One, a drastic increase in the money supply. Two, a drastic decrease in the supply of goods and services. Again, this is as simple as possible. If those two things occur at the same time, that's when inflation skyrockets, which is exactly what's happening right now. The last decade of monetary policy has led us to this point. Our federal leaders have been like crack-addicted lab rats. Interest rates have been held near zero in complete defiance of reality. And in addition, the federal government has been increasing spending by trillions of dollars and financing that entirely by just printing more money. So we have the first ingredient right there, drastically increasing our money supply combined with profligate government spending. Now for the second ingredient. The shutdown of our entire economy severely depressed the supply of goods and services, of course. Our government has created this inflationary nightmare. And inflation was always going to come with COVID shutdowns. You shut down, you're going to have inflation. Some people like to pretend that wasn't the case, but anyone with a basic understanding of economics could see that was going to happen. And our government's totally inept monetary policy has turned inflation from an issue, which it always was going to be, into a catastrophe. Now, what can be done about it? Increasing interest rates remain the #1 tool when trying to tame inflation. When our economy was booming, rates should have been slowly ticking back up to market levels. But rates were kept low because of the government's addiction to cheap credit. Now, rates are forced to be aggressively increased. The federal government really has been acting like a child gorging on their dessert instead of eating their vegetables. And now that enormous child is very sick. We have to eat our vegetables now, or else things will get much worse. The Fed finally has been raising interest rates to stop inflation, and that has already plunged our economy into a recession. Now, I could do a whole video on interest rates, but to put it very simply, increasing interest rates makes borrowing more expensive and saving money more profitable. And this directly reduces economic activity. Because instead of borrowing money to buy a car or buy a house, now, one, you have to save more in order to be able to afford that at all because borrowing costs are up. And two, there's a far bigger incentive to save money in general. So people will be spending less and investing less in the stock market. And that is what's driving this recession right now and reversing our historically high economic growth from just a few years ago. And time will tell how long it'll be and how high the rates have to be before inflation gets under control. But while rates are rising, our economy will continue to sputter. State government can't really make much of a positive or negative impact on inflation. I mean, we're talking trillions of dollars with a T. Our entire state budget is only around $50 billion, which sounds like a lot, but compared to our federal budget or the U.S. economy as a whole, it's almost nothing. The good news is we can do one thing at the state level: ease the burden of inflation on our citizens. And this must be our #1 priority. We need to lower taxes on everyone. to help them deal with skyrocketing prices because of inflation. And we especially need to completely eliminate the state income tax on Social Security. It's ridiculous that we even do that. Folks on fixed incomes are always hit the worst during an inflationary surge, and government should not be adding more stress to family budgets. We need to join the rest of the country and end our income tax on Social Security in Minnesota. And the bulk of the rest of the surplus should be sent back to where it came from, the taxpayers. So I hope you found this video informative. I tried not to make it all doom and gloom, but it's kind of difficult considering the subject matter. But let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you next time.